I am back. Final segment, Sons of the Shoe, for this Tuesday edition of the podcast. Riding solo yet again, Nick Wilson, still off gallivanting around the fine city of Chicago. So the show goes on, as Leonardo DiCaprio said in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not leaving. I'm here. I'm here with you, and we're talking Buckeyes all throughout the offseason. Very much looking forward to it. Before we get out of here for the episode, I want to let's get to the formalities. The Michigan Panic Meter. And as I've stated, as I've been in the dark gray, nothing changing this week. I'm staying there, no panic whatsoever. Nothing Michigan can do at this point, I think, would strike much fear in my heart other than beating Ohio State. And this is why I'm mad. I'm so annoyed that we basically we've given ourselves no wiggle room to go anywhere based off the spring game or anything because we're just in the gray. We're in the solid gray. Nick's in the exact same place. I don't think he's going to come back from Chicago and have some epiphany where he suddenly feels that Michigan is some dominant force again next year without Jim Harbaugh, and they're going to go on another national championship run, and it's going to be 4 straight years of losing to them. There's no way that's going to happen. So I'm assuming he's going to be in the same place. And so here we are, stuck with just dark gray and no room to wiggle anywhere else based on things that are going to happen this spring. And I don't know. I might have to just go into the white for a week just to add some excitement before the spring game to see where I'm at after the spring game in terms of my Michigan panic, because I need to, I don't know, like it's the same broken record conversation every single week. Now, I wonder how many of you feel the same way. Are you panicked about Michigan at all, given how things have transpired? And that to be fair, how things have transpired hasn't helped, because it's not like they won the national championship and then like Jim Harbaugh's coming back and he landed a couple big name recruits or a couple transfer portal guys. It's basically just been they kept the guys that were already enrolled. Bunch of players from that team went to the NFL. Jim Harbaugh leaves. He goes to the NFL, so we're all kind of envisioning them taking a step back. It's hard when that's the state of the program. Not that they're in a bad state, but just that they lose so much from a championship team, including their coach, who helped build the roster to this point. It makes it hard for us to really be all that panicked right now. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to come back full force, full bore, and be ready to beat Ohio State for a 4th straight year. And Ryan Day is going to pucker up in a key moment again. We'll see. In the meantime, though, speaking of Michigan, one player who is obviously leaving the program to go to the NFL is quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who at one point was in the Heisman conversation earlier on in the year and sort of faded down the stretch. I think after that Penn State game where they ran the ball like 77 times, he kind of lost his grip or his footing in terms of being a legitimate candidate in that conversation. But he was there. He helps lead them to a national championship. And yes, in some key moments, like the Ohio State game, he made some throws that were, okay, that's a big boy throw for the college level. Like, I had to tip my cap to him a couple times. I have been one of the biggest J.J. McCarthy haters there has been, largely because, and it really all has to do with Michigan. He didn't do anything to me personally. I have nothing against the guy on a personal level, other than the fact that he went to that team up north. And I don't root for guys who went to that team up north while they're playing for that team up north. And I don't really want him to succeed in the NFL either, because all I hear is people tell me how great he's going to be, and all I see is Kenny Pickett 2.0. That's it. Kenny Pickett 2.0. And I don't mean that as I want to be clear here, because I did bring this up at 92 through the fan the other day, and it led to this whole derailed conversation about comparing Kenny Pickett to J.J. McCarthy in college, and that is certainly not what I'm trying to do. Kenny Pickett was, until his last year when he blew up for like 40-plus touchdowns and 9 interceptions, he was just a fine, average, okay quarterback for the majority of like 3.5 years or 2.5 years starting. And then that last year he took off, and that's what garnered him being a first-round pick. I guess so here's the problem. I'm not going to sit here and tell you J.J. McCarthy's a first-round pick in my eyes. I think the Kenny Pickett comparison is strictly about the NFL level. I think he's going to get to the NFL and be the same sort of player as him. He can run the football, but he doesn't have the elite skills that it's going to take to be successful at that level. And part of the reason I think that too is everything that we talk about with J.J. McCarthy are like traits. Oh, he's a good leader and he knows how to win. but there's never any conversation about elite arm strength or pinpoint accuracy, or he can sort of maneuver the pocket well. It's always just these sort of intangible things that we like to put value on this time of year because we're looking for ways to boost guy stock or lower guy stock or whatever. And so that kind of concerns me that all the things we point to that he does well are things that we point to, like that a guy like Kenny Pickett did well. And those guys don't tend to be like the best of the best at the NFL level. They tend to end up kind of getting weeded out pretty early on in their career. So I that's how I feel about him. I also think, because people have brought up to me, what about the elite throws he made? He had that one touchdown throw against Ohio State that was like tight window, bracketed coverage, really good throw to that tight end. And I will say this, at the college level, that was an incredible throw. At the NFL level, that ball probably gets intercepted, because if you go back and watch some of those plays where he makes some of the elite level throws, it's a very tight window as is. But at the NFL level, when that linebacker is just a little bit faster, that ball probably gets there a little bit too late and it's getting intercepted. So I'm not ready to sit here. And again, if I have to eat crow on this at some point, I will. I actually really want to get Nick Wilson's thoughts on it as well when he gets back and joins us. So count on this being a topic that we recycle or circle back to, and maybe the end of the week episode when Nick returns, because I do think that I'm curious to pick his brain on it, where he thinks J.J. McCarthy should be, or where he should be picked, or what value he has in the NFL draft. But because I'm saying all this, personally, I don't think J.J. McCarthy is worth a first-round pick, which, from all the rumors and things that I'm hearing from when I was out in Indy, I had Eric Edholm of NFL.com. He joined me as a guest on a show over the weekend, and he had some thoughts on J.J. McCarthy, and he flat out said he thinks J.J. McCarthy might end up being like the third or fourth quarterback taken off the board behind Williams, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy next. He could even be a top 10 pick, is what Eric Edholm said. And then there was just all kinds of rumors about his stock going up at the combine last week. I mean, these guys are the experts, so I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything there is to know. Maybe they know better than me. But this just feels like a disaster of a pick waiting to happen. Some team is going to overreach for J.J. McCarthy, and it's just not going to work out for him. It's just not, because I don't see enough of the obvious talent for him to be this elite quarterback in the NFL. And maybe he'll be fine. Maybe he'll be a Kirk Cousins type, whatever. And I'm completely wrong still. But I just don't see it from him. I truly do not see him from him. And I think it'd be a mistake to draft him in the first round. Now, that being said, because my Kenny Pickett example exists, I kind of have to concede that he maybe does deserve to be a first-round pick, because his resume speaks volumes, especially with a national championship on it, and what he did in the playoff last year against TCU, plus what he did in the playoff in key moments this year against Ohio State, Bama, whatever. And in many ways, his resume speaks louder than what Kenny Pickett's did. And Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick. Now, the difference is different class years. Kenny Pickett's quarterback class was extremely, extremely weak. But J.J. McCarthy's is very, very strong by all accounts. And so that's why I find it asinine. Like, if he was coming out the same year as Pickett 2 years ago, sure, I would have probably said, fine, he's a first-round pick, because teams love to reach on quarterbacks. They're always going to take a chance on him. And I could see this guy getting picked at some point in the first round, especially as a national champion. But because he's in this loaded quarterback class, I don't think I can justify, even as important as the quarterback position is, using a first-round pick on J.J. McCarthy. I just don't see it. I'm not a scout, but I just don't see it. And maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Michigan fans jumping in on the comments section and on the 92 Through the Fan YouTube page who want to rip me a new one for even having this take to begin with. And I will gladly field your comments, and we'll respond to them on Friday when I bring this back up with Nick Wilson. But I just don't see it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Why do I have to apologize to Michigan fans? I'm guessing most Ohio State fans are going to agree with me, but I'm not apologizing for the take. I just don't think he's going to be as good as I guess these teams are estimating he's going to be, that it's going to warrant using a first-round pick of all things on him. But hey, that's life in the NFL. You reach on quarterbacks. You use first-round picks on him because it's the most valuable position in the game. And if some team's going to take a chance, some team's going to take a chance. I just don't think it's going to pan out because all I see is Kenny Pickett 2.0 at the NFL level. Do you agree that J.J. McCarthy not worth a first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft here at the end of April coming up next month? You can comment at the 92 Through the Fan YouTube channel. You can tweet me or X me. Some people probably want to X me after this J.J. McCarthy take. All the Michigan fans that basically troll listen and troll post the show. But you can do that at Spencito_ if you want to disagree with me as well. Again, do you think J.J. McCarthy's worth a first-round pick? I will bring that subject back up again with Nick when we hopefully reunite on Friday. I'm going to message him within the next 24 hours and get a sense of, okay, are you going to be with me Friday or am I riding solo again? Because I'm chomping at the bit to talk about a couple of different things. There's a topic I didn't even have time for today that I want to bring up with Nick as well. And so we will do all that coming up in episode 2 this week of Sons of the Shoe. As always, we encourage you to like, follow, subscribe to Sons of the Shoe, wherever it is that you prefer to listen to your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Odyssey app, which is always a great choice, 92throughthefan.com. You can also find us on the 92 Through the Fan YouTube channel if you want to see how emphatically I was screaming about J.J. McCarthy not being worth a first-round pick. You can do that there. You can comment as well. And as always, we appreciate your listenership. Hopefully back with Nick come Friday morning. We look forward to talking to you, Buckeyes Nation, when we rejoin forces again later this week. But in the meantime, appreciate you listening. And as always, go Bucks.